So, in this video, I want to answer the question of why Barranquilla. So, if you've decided to do remote work from South America, why would you choose Barranquilla instead of, say, Medellin or down here, Bogota, right? So a little bit about myself. I'm a programmer. That's how I earn my living. I connect to servers. I change websites, databases, etc. So, but this video is not about that. It's mainly about, well, if you can choose anywhere to live as an expat remote worker, why would you choose Barranquilla? And specifically, why Barranquilla and not some other place in Colombia? First of all, this just occurred to me and I want to hit it so I don't forget. Cartagena, the reason why I would prefer Barranquilla over Cartagena is Cartagena just has sort of a whorish feel to it. Okay, and no one will doubt that there are a tremendous number of whores in that city, prostitutes running around. So that's not a good thing, and there's tons of scams there. There are a lot because it's a tourist type of place. It's very touristy, not just for foreigners, but for local Colombians as well. There are a lot of whores there, and guys will go there, as I understand it, to get away from their wives, and they can sleep with women, and that whores basically. But it's not the city itself just doesn't have the same feel that Barranquilla does. Barranquilla has a better feel. So at any rate, the first reason is the weather. Reason number one, the weather. Well, why don't I first do a quick rundown of the reasons why Barranquilla. Number one, the weather, very sunny, much sunnier than the other places. Two, the internet is good enough. It's just as fast as Medellin and Bogota, if you follow a couple of these tips I'm going to give you shortly, okay? Because there's a quote-unquote last mile internet connectivity problem. If you go to the wrong places, which also is present in Medellin and actually lots of developing countries, as well as in certain parts of the United States as well. Next, the women, the chicks in Barranquilla they're just friendlier. They're nicer. They're more approachable. Number four, it's cheaper than Bogota and Medellin. It's noticeably cheaper. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, there's one that's not Colombia specific. I'll put it as 6, and that is it 5 or 6? At any rate, Colombia does allow you 6 months in the country, right? Kind of, it's a free pass. You don't need to have any special visa, right? So, that's a good thing. And yeah, so there's a lot of places where you might have to go through some rigmarole to have permission to stay. Well, you don't. You do. It's not like the Dominican Republic, but you do get 6 months, right? And there are lots of other countries nearby. So let's go back into detail. The weather. Now, Barranquilla in December, January, and February is extremely sunny. I can testify to that, as well as March. I can't testify to March because I haven't been here in March, but everyone says March is essentially the same. I can testify to December. I was here last year, a little bit of December. This year, almost all of December. And last year, January and February as well. And here I'm towards the end of January. Okay. It is extremely sunny. I'm talking about, this is rare. You see these clouds here? That's rare. I mean, it's usually blue skies. And I just love that. I adore that. right? I'm from Seattle, and so I hate the cloudy days, continual cloudy days. You go to Medellin, I mean, this is what Medellin looks like most of the year. I lived in Medellin for a month, and it's not that I didn't like it. Actually, I did like it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't like the clouds all over the place, right? And it's a little bit chilly. Barranquilla is also warmer. People who dislike the heat maybe should perhaps consider Medellin, but I don't care about the heat. And it's not that hot during December, January, February. And again, I can't speak to March, but at any rate, it's not that hot. So you need to understand that like every other day it's cloudy in Medellin. Do you want to be in a place that, and if you look at other YouTubers' videos, watch other YouTubers' videos, just go ahead and pan through and randomly sample some. You'll see that when they're walking outside, most of the videos look like this, right? There's a little sun, but it's mainly cloudy. There's a little sun here, oh yay, but it's mainly overcast, right? And that's the way it usually looks, right? And Bogota's even worse. I was recently in Bogota for about 10 days, and it's cold. It still had wind. It rained a little bit. I had to have a jacket. It was not a heavy jacket, but I still had to have a jacket. I mean, come on. Why would you do that to yourself? I mean, why would you do that? Unless you, I mean, I know there's a nightlife there, I guess, but, I don't, at any rate. So now the internet, here's the key. The internet in Barranquilla, in the north here, here's a blog, my blog. I'm starting a little blog here. In the north, it is sufficiently modern, sufficiently advanced that you're not going to run into that quote unquote last mile problem, right? That's where you get these speed bottlenecks. Okay, you can go ahead and do an internet search on it. You'll learn a lot. I'm not like a full-time network administrator by any means, but I do know something about it. Okay. And so, yeah, it's that issue. And that's why generally what it has to do with, if you get into these places where it's quite frankly, it's poor, and you've got all this crummy cabling, all the infrastructure is just screwed up and backwards, right? And you look up at the power lines and there's nothing but rat nests, etc. And you're thinking to yourself, how in the heck are they going to ensure that all these cables are wrapped up and done correctly all the way back to the ISP, right? The internet service provider, whether it's Claro or Movistar or whatever the company is, and then to go ahead and get onto one of the backbones of the internet. Once you're on the backbone, once you're on the highway, it's all about the same, right? It should be fast. And so this blog post is about, crime, but it'll serve our purposes here. In this area down here, going down, especially into Soledad, you're not going to get fiber optic to your home. You're going to get all sorts of really shitty internet connections. You may have power outages as well, which is a separate problem. Obviously, when the power goes out, you don't have any internet. But that's not even the first threshold problem. So here's the deal. In the north, I have no problem. My internet is fine. I've had 2 or 3 video conferences with bosses and other employees back in the United States, and it's been hunky-dory, right? It's been hunky-dory. It's been completely sufficient to go back and forth, screen share, etc. So you don't have to be in Medellin or Bogota for that. And also, quite frankly, there is an internet and a submarine cable, right? In order for your internet signals to get from Colombia over to Florida and to Texas, there are these submarine, these submarine cables here. You can do a search on that on Google too. And those are really the backbones of the internet, the international internet. And quite frankly, it goes right into Barranquilla. So again, it's that last mile problem. But assuming you've surpassed that and you've got a good solid bit of internet infrastructure going from your home or building, your apartment building, to your ISP and then onto that highway, the main highway, which is one of these submarine cables, technically you should get faster internet if you're in Barranquilla because it will be as fewer number hops. They're called network hops to get on there. Because with Medellin and Bogota, they're big cities, there's just some certain physical, actual limitations, right? There's going to be between going from Medellin, getting on to here in Barranquilla or in Cartagena, hopping on the major highway, right? So now the chicks in Barranquilla, so on to the next point. The women. Why the women? Well, the women, I think, in Barranquilla are friendlier and nicer than they are in Medellin. They're more approachable, etc. Depending how you like your girls. If you like girls more curvy and round, they're much more so like that in Barranquilla than if you go to Bogota for sure. But Medellin as well for that matter. And now why are they nicer? It could be that the city, I think it could be a big city issue. Barranquilla is a smaller city. Okay. And yeah, that's probably what it is, but they just are. I noticed that, and I'm one of those people who I do spend a lot of time on Tinder and Colombian Cupid and meeting chicks, and so I get to know a lot of them. So another thing to consider is it's cheaper in Barranquilla, noticeably cheaper than in Medellin and Bogota. Like, take a look at this one. Here you've got three bedrooms, tres habitaciones, dos baños. You're gonna have to buy you'd have to buy your fridge, etc. But look at the price, right? And it's in a very nice neighborhood, right? A quite nice neighborhood. Actually, it's not that far. Where's Calle? No, I did 3 days. So I'm over here. So this one that you're looking at, I'm live down here, and this is in the north. If you looked on a map, it's right here. Okay, so you need to be in this northern area to get good internet and also to be safe. But so it's cheaper, right? It is cheaper to live in Barranquilla than it is to live in Bogota and Medellin. So why would I do that? I think there's this tendency to follow the crowd. To see that everyone else is going to Medellin, everyone's going to Medellin, and so you want to go to Medellin to catch the trend or whatever. But actually, that's not very clever at all. That's actually not what you want to do. You'll end up missing a lot of opportunities. You might, maybe that's not a good, I don't think that's a really great idea, because why would you go to a place and you don't need to go there for a job. You don't need to go there because your family lives there. It doesn't make any sense. That's why people will go to big cities or force themselves to live in really, really big cities. Again, Barranquilla is about 2.5 million. It's by no means a small city, but it's like the 4th largest or 5th largest in Colombia, something like that. 1, 2, 3, It's the fifth largest. It's just slightly smaller than Cartagena. But why would you do that to yourself? I don't. It doesn't make sense. So, yeah. So at any rate, I would say I really wish Colombia had more opportunities to stay longer. Okay, I really do. But of course, if you do meet a chick and end up feeling she's the one for you, you can get married and stay there a long time. Um, yeah. So that's why you might want to consider Barranquilla as opposed to these other cities in Colombia.